Good afternoon, and thank you all for joining us on a lovely day outside. Welcome to the Growing Our Economy Advisory Committee meeting of November 19th, 2025. Going to call the meeting to order and just ask for a quick moment of reflection on today's business. Thank you. Thank you very much. Is there any disclosure of pecuniary interest or general nature thereof from anyone at this point? Seeing nothing, we will move ahead. Public participation. Members of the public are encouraged to provide the committee with their comments and questions. Presentations must be prearranged with legislative services before the agenda is released. Members of the public who wish to make a deputation about a specific agenda item at the meeting must register in advance with legislative services by 4 p.m. on that day, the previous day, by contacting Deputy Clerk at meaford.ca or 519-538-1060 extension 1110. Presentations are limited to 10 minutes and deputations are limited to 5 minutes. And I believe we do not have any presentations today or deputations on agenda items. So I'll move to point 5 in your agenda, the approval of the minutes, and move that the recommendation that the minutes of the September 17th, 2025 meeting of the Growing Our Economy Advisory Committee be approved as presented. May I have a mover and a seconder, please? Thank you, Michael and Evelyn. Thank you very much. Any questions, comments, concerns about the minutes as presented? Seeing nothing, I will call for a vote to accept those minutes as presented. All in favor? Thank you very much. And no items for consideration today, so we will move, sorry, we do have items for consideration. And we'll move to 7.A, which will be a verbal report from the Director of Development Services, re the Economic Development and Community Growth Division mandate. So Amy Can, please, and thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. I'm happy to be here joining the committee today. So just wanting to give the committee a little bit of an update about what we've been doing at the staff level from an economic development perspective. As many of you may have been tracking through the council agendas, CAO Everett has taken through a new organizational structure to council for approval, and we're now in sort of an implementation stage for that new org structure. And so development services hasn't been a huge point of change for this work, but we are now proudly officially partners with a new division, which we call Economic Development and Community Growth. So that means partnering up that mandate with what we do in planning for, handling those land use planning matters, heritage, of course, and also administering the building services division. So making sure that we're all working together to build and grow Meaford, consistent, of course, with the vision that we have set out in the municipal official plan. So trying to get all those ducks in a row so that we're all moving in the same direction. So it's a really exciting opportunity. And so in the aftermath of this change, we're very excited to be looking forward to our work in 2026. We're trying to plan this work ahead so that we can match our resources through the budget process, of course, which is also upon us, with the work we plan to undertake, and making sure that our resources are all matching with the work we plan to undertake or hope to undertake. So as we complete our work plans, we're also thinking about budgets and how those are organized. So in our new division, ECDEV and Community Growth, we hope to structure it something like sort of a 3-piece structuring, so that we focus on the 3 Ps. Promotion, where we sort of execute campaigns to celebrate and bring awareness to initiatives that contribute to ECDEV and community growth, those metrics that we're looking for. And within the scope of ECDEV, we look to collaborate with internal departments to promote community events, facilitate public engagement, and stakeholder consultation, and to mitigate impact of special or capital projects on the ECDEV metrics. So, for example, if a big capital project is going to impact a business, we would work with our infrastructure friends to help reduce that impact. So thinking about that holistic picture and making sure that all of our pillars are taken care of, and we're all doing our respective jobs together, as I like to say. So as far as partnerships, we are hoping to engage in events and projects with our community partners, Chamber of Commerce being one that sort of comes to mind, County of Grey, ECDEV staff. We look to support local business community through, including those entrepreneurs, our very entrepreneurial population, and serving and contributing to the broader region. So we also hope to liaise with council, of course, on sponsorship and community funding opportunities, which they look at specifically through the budget process. We have some existing partnerships that go through the budget. And we also hope to monitor for grant opportunities, of course, that support that broader vision of ECDEV and community growth. There's lots and lots of different components in our mandate. So directly or indirectly, there's lots of grant money out there that could help progress our efforts. And then finally, projects. We look to collecting all of our plans and studies that the corporation and community look to for their vision and guidance. So various master plans, that kind of thing. So sort of collecting those under the community growth umbrella so that we can monitor those plans and make sure they're maintained and kept up to date. That, of course, there's nothing more economic development related than long-term planning, right? And so that's a big part of what we're going to look to do. Of course, we're excited to administer a new community improvement plan or a refreshed CIP in 2026. So we just released the draft of the CIP yesterday for community engagement. So please spread the good word. The draft is posted on our website, posted in the newspaper and print, and in the digital version of the Meaford Independent. You can contact any of staff to get pointed in that direction too. So we're really excited, looking forward to a public meeting on the refreshed CIP December 8th at 5 o'clock right here. So if you can't attend that public meeting in person, please submit written comments to ecdev@meaford.ca. And so last but not least, we just generally hope to lead or contribute to projects that support our ECDEV metrics, which again, that's those metrics are what we're hoping to work out here in the next few weeks as we go into 2026. It's upon us. It's surprising, isn't it? So happy to answer any questions. I think I've kind of covered where we're at so far, and committee's likely aware of the decision that was made at council on Monday night around the transitioning the committees into a new era as we're going into an election year. So happy to answer any questions you have. So that's it from me. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Amy. That's excellent. And before I throw it to questions, I'm just gonna, has everybody seen, I didn't know we actually had it today. Has everybody seen the new org chart, municipal org chart? Because that restructuring has been ratified by council, and it does explain, it kind of show, the chart shows where ECDEV now sits under the planning department, but there is also the more of the community engagement side that's kind of separate. So yeah, that is kind of valuable, I think, for everybody to understand that piece and now kind of where that falls. And I think, again, just before we throw into questions, because you did bring up, and I think this is the part where we were going to talk about, yes, we only have a couple more meetings. This meeting, almost all the advisory committees will be disbanding as of March due to the election year. But I wanted to touch a base a little bit about, and what you've done is you've laid it out very well, kind of what we're looking at moving forward. But just a little bit of explanation of kind of how we got here. There was a conversation at the council table about, it's been a little rudderless to this point because we've had a lot of flux getting our current CAO and this new structure into place. So we've always been playing a little bit of catch up, which was unfortunate for advisory committees as a whole because they weren't necessarily getting the structure that would normally be in place as directionality in terms of here's what staff is needing us to kind of work on and specifically advise. So I think just a little bit of an overview, if you may or can, just about kind of what that's going to look like, hopefully in the future, and about what is going to be expected of the advisory committee in 2026, hopefully, or 2027, more likely.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I may invoke the help here of the deputy clerk,
Sure.
as I think this conversation is a little bit in.
Thank you, and through you, Mr. Chair. So the committees, including this committee, will be disbanded effective at the end of March of next year. In advance of that, what we're hoping to prepare is a wrap-up report with the support of this committee. So in January, what we'll bring back to you is sort of an overview of what the committee has done since you were brought together in 2024. And from there, we'd ask for your feedback and for your thoughts about how we could improve that committee structure, what worked well, what did not work well. And essentially, we're hoping to sort of build back better for the 2027 kickoff of the new committees. So if you would sort of start to think about those things, if you have suggestions, to be prepared to bring them in January. The second part of that question was about
what it'll look like more moving in 2027 about truly how an advisory committee should work with staff input and a little bit more structured direction.
Certainly, thank you. So the idea would be that at the beginning of the year, you would see the overall departmental plan for the work that would get done. And then through the year, we would we would provide to you updates about those projects, and we would ask for your input about those projects. And it could flow through the structure the way that the advisory committees are meant to. So the idea being that you have a plan for the committee, staff are working toward that plan. We're bringing you regular updates. If committee has suggestions either about how the work is being done or about work that should be done in response to those work plans, that comes as a recommendation from the committee to council for council to direct staff. Thank you.
Perfect, thank you. So, and one thing that has been requested is that from council is that there be an end of term report from the chair. So this will be done again with, collaboration with everyone here to talk about what have we accomplished, and then we can talk about, we can present that, I can present that to council on your behalf. So come January, yeah, we will kind of have a summary wrap up and talk about a lot of those things. So now I'll just want to make sure we were clear on those things. And I'll definitely, any questions for Amy at this point? Well, okay, I was gonna say that was easy. Shirley.
Can't let Amy off that easy. Thank you,
No.
Mr. Chair. I'm thinking about the draft CIP and the opportunity for the Growing Our Economy Committee to participate or to provide feedback. So is it best if the group just has a look at the draft and submits their comments? Because of the timing of our meetings and the meeting coming up in December, I don't know if any of our members might be able to attend that meeting in December. I just think it would be ideal if this group could provide comments on the plan. So just a question for you, Amy, is the best way for this committee to do that?
Thank you. Great question, Deputy Mayor Keating, and through you, Mr. Chair. It's a tricky one because we wanted to advance the CIP refresh rapidly, and so does create some trickiness around that consultation directly with the committees. So I certainly am in your hands on if you want to create a specific engagement opportunity that involves the committee, or perhaps so with the community rather public meeting on December 8th, I'm wondering if certainly it's an opportunity for committee members to approach and provide comment as members of the community simply, or we could come up with other options as far as a group comment on the CIP. So I'd let the deputy clerk chime in if she has any other good ideas procedurally, but that's because we want to get it through really quick. It's tricky in that regard. So do you have it?
Thank you. I would suggest that a group response at this stage, just because of the timing, would be tricky. But I do think as individuals, you all have valuable input, and if you provided those as individuals, I think that could be conveyed to staff.
Yes, thank you. You're right. And I think that should be definitely distributed to the group, and any input would be greatly appreciated. Does that spark any questions? Just as long as we're going this direction. Seeing nothing, then I will ask one more of you. And Reed and Evelyn might want to elaborate a little bit more on this. When we talk about kind of what's going to happen, future iterations, this group did kind of in its early inception did come up with a work plan. And I don't know if you, because you're new in your role, I'm not sure you've probably ever seen that. And I just think that that might be a value of you for you just to see that document, because it kind of does detail some of the past concepts that were developed. And it did revolve a lot around community vision planning, which is vital for economic development. So I just think that that's something that would probably be something we should make sure it gets to your hands so that you're aware, since it's going to fall under the umbrella of that department. Okay.
Thank you for that, Mr. Chair, if I may. We've certainly been reviewing documents like the ECDEV master plan and the council's strategic plan, those types of things, but I will specifically look into the committee work plan as well to sort of investigate what your interests were over this term. So thank you for pointing that out.
Great, that would be great. And I'm glad you brought up the strategic plan as well, because obviously that's paramount. So I'm not sure where that kind of falls in the whole planning your planning process as well, because we're obviously already at the point where the last one is really kind of expired now. And that was one of the things that this group had sort of said we really were hoping to kind of get going on the new strat plan. So just where that's going to fall into your very light schedule as well. Not sure, but yeah, that'll also be kind of looming over you.
And just to come back one last time on that, a lot of these questions will be, I think, either directly or indirectly answered through the budget process, because many of those projects do have budget implications, and whether they're carry forward projects or new projects put on the draft budget, I think will be where you'll probably see a lot of those items next.
Right. And for some reason, the committee is being rather shy more than normal, because I think what would normally be said at this point is a really big part of that is a community visioning process. So, and it'll, I think probably there will be a little frustration there, because we would have hoped that there would have already been a kind of a community visioning prior to the budget, because those would go hand in hand to try and figure out what moved forward in conjunction with what the public might have wanted. Of course, that didn't happen just because of the flux we were in. So once again, but just wanting to always keep in mind that community visioning plan has got to be kind of also part of the long-term plan.
Sorry, one more thing to add
Sure.
there. So certainly my roots, my technical training is as a planner, a land use planner. So the municipal official plan is the document that guides our growth and development over the long range. So 2025, or rather 25-year time horizon. So that document does contain a vision, and so I wonder if part of what you're alluding to is more, many of us went to the wonderful Economic Development Forum that was put on by the County of Grey. And staff there talked about what is your community's value proposition? And so I wonder if that gets at sort of what you're talking about. What is it that Meaford has to offer that makes us unique and incredible? And so that is absolutely something that's on our mind as far as ECDEV and community growth. So won't let that slip away. Absolutely.
Perfect. I will say that, yes, that is definitely, and I'm glad it's a 25-year plan at least, because yes, we need to be looking at long term. In 2020, before that last strat plan was brought into play, there was a community engagement, a very large community engagement process that was put together that really did kind of help shape things moving forward. And it's as much about that as well, because as much as that is a little bit more internal, the community engagement and the visioning process is more of an external, to make sure that we also have the public engagement side to help direct what that 25-year plan is as well. So we've always, I mean, literally, let's go right to brass tacks. What is Meaford? Are we a retirement town? Are we a tourist town? Are we, with what we've just done with the acquisition, are we now going to be hopefully a growing industrial town? So these are the kind of things that getting the public engagement side on, so we can help shape that future as well, is also very important. So I know we're way too close to budget for any of that, but when we're talking about what that next strat plan looks like, we need to get that in place so we actually have public engagement and planning in that as well. Evelyn, thank you. I don't want to be the only one talking here.
It's good to hear the direction you're going. It's a little bit like music to my ears, so that's really great. But I really would like to follow up with our chair's comments. I think we're talking about more than the visioning and the work that was done to put the official plan together. I think we're talking about, I mean, here we've, was really pleased that our new CAO put together the industrial lands, and so that we actually have something to contribute, and that we can be, when you talk to our county colleagues, they don't have any sense about where Meaford is coming from and, our capability. And I think the industrial lands has definitely been a big bonus. But I think following up on that visioning is, okay, now we have this industrial park. Well, what kind of businesses does this community really want to see us encourage? Because part of it is, how do we market ourselves? And so I guess as part of the planning, when you're in an election year, you're not going to do that forward planning, because it's going to wait until the new council is in place at this point. But I would, I know that all of us around this table feel very strongly that that piece needs to happen. And it's not just for ECDEV, it's for, prioritizing. I mean, we're, negotiating kind of with TCE and all these other things, and there will hopefully be some resources and money and partnerships that will evolve over the next few years. But I think we need to have a sense and input from our community on what are their priorities. And without doing that, it's going to be like, okay, well, here somebody comes, but is that necessarily where we as a community want to end up 10, 20 years down the road? So I think there's one more step that needs to be done. And I don't think the official plan has got enough of that in it. It definitely is a good starting base, just like some of our other strategies. We've done a lot of little elements where we get pieces of it, but I think it's time to take all these pieces, put it together in a package, and then begin to give it back to the community saying, we've heard all these things. We can't do them all. So where is it? And so when you start having report cards back to the community on, did we hit the right things for ECDEV, or did we hit the right things for our meeting our social needs in this community, or health needs, or whatever it is, it's good to have a plan, and there's a lot of communities where they've developed that. And people feel like they're actually moving forward. And I think we've been paddling really hard in this community. And there's a lot of energy that's been done, but I think to do it with a little more organization would be very productive.
You alluded to, sorry, is there any other questions? Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and I would just follow up on Evelyn's comments and the thinking of our community profiles that are a little bit out of date, and whether that's a consideration of your department, Amy, is to have a review of those and put together a package, as Evelyn suggests, that might go out to anyone interested in investing in our industrial park now that we have one. And further than that, I know this has been talked about before, but is there thought of also updating the economic development strategy now that we know that that is going to be out of date this year, and so much has changed since we undertook that exercise? I mean, that was way back just before or early COVID. It was, yeah, a very different time than we're facing now. So I just wondered where those two things fit into your strategy.
Hi, thank you, Deputy Mayor. So the community profile is included in my work plan for next year, and it's a definite priority. I'm kind of, inspired by Grey County and the great profile that they did. So it's on my agenda for sure, and it's a priority for me for sure. So it's in the works.
Go ahead, Amy.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. To answer your second question about the ACTEV master plan and the status, actually, sort of as we speak, we're building sort of a plans and studies repository for the municipality, for the corporate and community plans, so that we can track these things. So member spoke about sort of the more holistic outlook on ACTEV, including wellness and those types of things. And so getting it operational enough so that we can create a report card. What are the overall or overarching efforts we're putting towards ACTEV community growth and that bigger vision, and how are we doing? And so to me, that sounds exactly like a more implementation document, like an ACTEV strat plan. And so I can't speak to the lifespan of our current strat plan or master plan, but certainly it's something that we're tracking. And when its life is up, we can update it, and that will be subject to community engagement. And maybe that's the package that gets at all these things that you're talking about at this committee. So there's certainly a place for it. It's just figuring out the best package to usher it through the engagement process. So does that help? Yeah.
Yes, thank you for that. Yeah, our ACTEV strat plan actually has, we're at the end of that. So that's, we're just a little concerned about how we're going to move forward. But of course, that's coming up against an election year, which just makes that much more difficult. So we've alluded a number of times in there, and I just want to make sure that everybody's aware that for people on Earth and anybody that might be watching is about the acquisition of the industrial lands that has happened. I'm not sure everybody's aware of that, or just make sure, but yes, there has been 26 acres between Muir Street and Highway 26 behind the McDonald's, that two parcels of land. So that really is, we're very, very excited about that. And so is Grey County, which has always been a bit of a chink in our armor because we didn't really have any serviceable industrial land ready to go. So when people came fishing, we weren't really kind of ready. Well, Grey County now knows we're ready, and they're very excited that we are in a position to do it. So hopefully we can move forward with that. So thank you. Ron.
Through you, Mr. Chair, I'm not certain who will be able to answer this, but looking at the terms of reference from the growing our economy advisory committee and the reorg that's happened and so on like that. I'm just wondering whether there'll be an update with respect to the mission statement and with respect to the terms of reference and the mandate of the committee.
Thank you for the question, and through you, Mr. Chair. I think that's something we're open to. It's something, if you have feedback about those things, if you wanted to prepare that and give that to staff for that January meeting, that's something that we could take back and consider when we're rebuilding the terms of reference for the next iteration.
Okay. Great. Is there anything else for Amy before we move on? Great.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Not so much a question, but congratulations on kind of sorting out so many things all at once. The new org chart sounds exciting, and certainly your division of the 3 Ps and how it fits together with building, I think is really well, it's refreshing to hear that there is a plan and there is a go forward piece. We're excited about the acquisition of land as well, because I think that's a good fit into it. And I guess after serving on this committee, and I'll use the term that the chair used earlier, a little rudderless. But I think things seem to be coming together, and I think that it's encouraging. So congratulations.
Thank you, Reid. Moving on then, 7B is a verbal report from the small and medium business liaison, Reid Team Gray update.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So I just wanted to give a little update on the Grey County MOU. Some regional work is underway related to the economic development collaboration across Grey County. Grey County's been exploring the Team Grey framework, which comes out of their economic development, tourism, and culture master plan. The focus is on building stronger alignment across the municipalities, particularly in areas like investment readiness, business retention, and regional marketing. The county is working with member municipalities to outline a high-level memorandum of understanding. This is not a binding agreement or anything. It just changes the municipal authority. It's a simple framework that clarifies roles, expectations, and opportunities to work together and more effectively. The intent is to reduce duplications, strengthen communication, and make it easier for investors and businesses to navigate economic opportunities across the region. The document is still in development. The municipalities are reviewing the general framework to see how it aligns with local needs and priorities. And there are no decisions being made at this time. It's simply just an update that the region is working and progressing, and that they will bring forward more information when the draft is ready. And we'll continue to keep the committee informed in the process as they move forward with that.
Thank you, Jess. I was thinking because that came to us at the ECDev forum, which was a really, really excellent forum. I just wonder if you want to maybe just touch base on that forum a little bit, just kind of a very high level overview of kind of how that worked, because it was really good.
Yeah, through you, Mr. Chair, it was a great day. Meaford actually had, I think, the most staff there, which was lovely because previous year it was just myself and Eric and a couple of council there. So it was a great high energy Meaford team day, and there were great speakers. Invest Ontario was there, which I found really informative. She spoke about investment ready property and kind of the process of that. Roger, his last name's Mooking, yeah. He was there talking about storytelling in communities and how important it is to share those stories. And and the connection, and he's such an inspirational speaker as well. It was really great. We had lots of kind of activities that we were doing, and then also celebrating each municipality in Gray, and they're celebrating everyone's wins. So Meaford's win during that was the community benefit agreement, and then the amount of new businesses that we've opened in the municipality of Meaford. So it was a really great day, and I think Team Gray had a great day as well. So it was a good one.
Thank you. Are there any questions for Jessica? Deputy Mayor?
Thanks, Mr. Chair. I just thought I would add the year before when we had the mayor of Stratford there, and he was the guest speaker and spent the entire morning talking about, just be bold, just be brave, just go out and do it. And we did. We went out this year and we bought land, which was exactly what was talked about at that meeting a year ago. So I'm just so proud of that. But I just wanted to also speak to the MOUs. Gray County has a shared services committee, which I happen to sit on, and we talked about a little bit about economic development and recognized that every lower tier in Gray is handling it differently. They have, different levels of staff, and some have no staff. But I just really appreciate Savannah coming up with this idea of the MOUs, because the Economic Development Department of the county is just so dynamic, so motivated, so successful, and they're really present, on the international stage. And I think that can only be a benefit for us here in Meaford to be working more closely with the county. And if we think of the prime example of the Gather campaign, and I hope that you've all had a chance to view some of those videos, because they're just so well done. And assuming that the county agrees to invest in those again, I've already kind of nudged Roger to come back and do more in Meaford. Yeah, he's just quite a character. He just organized a Shirt Off Your Back campaign for support for Jamaica, and he worked with Donovan Bailey on this project. And I took 6 big bags of clothing from the thrift shop out there on Sunday and had a chance to see his buildings out there where he does his TV shows and so on. It's pretty impressive that we have Roger as an advisor for the committee at the county level. So again, I'm just so supportive and so pleased that we're stepping forward and working with the county. That will be a definite benefit to us. Thank you, Jess.
Anything else for Evelyn?
I was pleased to hear about the project there, but you also talked about the need to understand our own local needs and priorities. And we haven't done that particularly well. So I think for us to take advantage of our work with the county, and as this moves more to Team Gray, with all the municipalities, we have to be able to undertake a process. And I think when we talked at the beginning of our year here about doing a business retention and expansion survey, we talked about that, part of it was to get input from our own businesses, and we haven't done that. So to me, for us to take advantage of all this energy that is being created in the economic development area here, we need to do some work here within our municipality. And so whatever the plans are that are going to be done for next year, I think it is a good year in 2026 to undertake, get to know your own community and begin to sing the songs of our businesses. We have forwarded over the last few years examples of other newsletters from economic development from other communities where the municipality actually has these stories of businesses. And I think that storytelling that you talked about, Deputy Mayor, is definitely, well, again, we don't do very well. Locally, there's been a process in place. But I think we need to do this a little more formally. And I think both those kinds of projects could get some energy and movement, because to wait another year to 2027, we're going to lose even more ground to the others that are able to do this well. And so I think we should use that new energy that I'm feeling from our businesses, the fact that we've attracted new businesses. If there is some way that we can support this from a municipal perspective, as well as support the businesses to do so, we need to start those discussions, and we're not doing it. So all I can strongly recommend is that we get started on that, because it hasn't happened yet.
Anyone else? Reed.
I'll just add to that a little bit. I'm a great fan of the county, and I know when Savannah came in and did her presentation on BRNEs, I guess my experience, my humble experience, says that counties and senior governments, provinces, they go with the ones that are most ready. And as Evelyn's mentioned, maybe we're not as ready as we think. And so whatever we can do to really understand where a community wants to go. And that's where I think it's very important, is the community vision. And the other influences, of course, are the budget. And so if they're not totally aligned, we asked Savannah at her last presentation, how important is it to know what you want to be? And she said, very, the community needs to know exactly where they're going, what they want to be. So I think getting the right combination of vision, budget, and what comes first, and what, obviously, you're in a planning cycle. So you've got deadlines and you've got commitments, but the sooner we can get out there and find out exactly where the community wants to grow, and what can we afford to put on first base, right? So it is a sequence, and I know that you're aware of that, but I just wanted to kind of re-emphasize that. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just following up on the comments from Reed and Evelyn. It's so interesting you bring those thoughts forward. I had a similar discussion with President of our Chamber of Commerce this morning, thinking about the number of businesses that have chosen now to open in Meaford, and just it's so wonderful, but yet, we don't really understand the why of it. I mean, what is it about the environment that we've created here that attracts them, and how do we understand that, and how do we harness that? Because people are so excited to be here, and they've chosen to be here where they could have, opened anywhere. So I think people are really seeing their own vision for Meaford, and they're seeing the potential here, and they're willing, to invest large amounts of money to open their shops here. And it's wonderful, but yet I worry about it. I hope that, that they can survive, that they can sustain themselves, and what is our role in assisting them to do that. And, we talk about the shop local and all those sorts of things that have been done dozens of times before, but I think we have to somehow take those thoughts a step further, because we've got how many businesses now, Jess? I think we've done 21 ribbon. So if we could say 30, because we're not capturing all of the new businesses either that have opened here. So just, what's happening, and do we really understand just what it is and why they're choosing us? And I think if we can get a handle on that, then we can start to understand what we need to do to really enhance the environment that, Meaford has created here, and just then how we can help sustain these businesses. So I don't have any answers, but it's just a puzzling question to me.
Amy.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. If I could chime in on the Deputy Mayor's point, I think that brings us back to the notion of the value proposition, and whether or not we need to build anything at all, or whether we have inherently in our municipal environment, rather the urban Meaford and our rural community and our rural settlement areas, if we inherently have the components that just are naturally drawing people in, our beautiful waterfront, our Meaford Hall, or, that's the value proposition. Those things that we have already that are drawing people in and creating life just naturally. So it comes full circle, kind of, if you build it, they will come, but maybe the natural environment and our historic conditions have just created something magical.
Ron?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm not sure whether everyone has seen the email from, or the email or the designation from Toronto.com. Most recently, they posted an article. This charming Ontario waterfront town hosts the largest outdoor Christmas market in its region. And they go on to say that we've nestled over 2.5 hours away from Toronto in the charming municipality of Meaford is the largest outdoor Christmas market. Meaford is hailed as a four-season destination situated on the southern shore of Georgian Bay, but this is the time of year to visit if you're looking for a little Yuletide joy. So I think, we're getting out there, and I think we have to be nurturing this further and determine. So I support finding how, but it's great that we are getting out there.
Thank you for that, Ron. Yeah, that was really exciting because that was picked up for Christmas on the Bay, obviously, and it's a great advertisement for us. Thank you, Amy. And I agree. I think there's a certain organic action that's happened, and COVID, we know, was a contributor to that. Because after that, we went from 25 million to 100 million development in the books 1 year, and people did discover us naturally. But to your point, Evelyn, I know we just want to try and harness that and funnel it in the direction and moving forward. And I think we're all on the same page in that desire. It's just how do we get there? The one thing I will champion with that, because I'm never going to let this die. The Canadian Chamber of Commerce put out the economic and social dividends from Canada's arts and culture sector, which said the report showed in 2024 that $65 billion was the direct GDP contribution of Canadian arts and culture in Canada, and 131 billion in total economic activity to the Canadian economy. Now, why is that important to us? Is because as much as we're a four-season recreation, we've got this kind of lovely little kind of local agricultural feel as well, but we do have more amounts. We punch above our weight in the amount of events that we actually have throughout the year. And where I want to make sure we don't lose sight, because in your presentation, you talked about the silos, and now economic development is under planning, as it should be, because we need to be doing serviceable land, we need to be doing industrial development, et cetera. But we can't lose sight of the fact that we also need to nurture and foster the arts and culture aspect that we so richly have because of Meaford Hall, because of all the events we have. So we're kind of a confluence of these things that organically, more than probably by plan, we are positioned to take advantage of. So I always kind of hope that is going to be paramount in our moving forward and what that strat plan looks like. But again, coming back to community visioning plan, I think that would be echoed by a great deal of the community anyway, but we really need to quantify that to some degree. Anyone? Okay. So let's beat that one to death. Moving on, then let's move to the next point. I think Justice will be you again. Point C is the verbal report from the Small Medium Business Liaison re 2025, the holiday campaign. So just tell us a little bit about what we've got coming up.
Thank you, and through you, Mr. Chair. So we're doing, so this year's the 40th anniversary of One Magic Christmas, which was filmed in Meaford in 1985. I think it's probably one of the coolest things that Meaford has. I know my grandma was in that movie at Foodland in line, so it's kind of cool to watch it over and over again. So the initiative kind of brings together the local businesses, residents, and visitors hoping to create a film-inspired experience throughout downtown throughout December. The campaign has three main components. So the wreath decorating contest that happened last year with all the businesses, from Grey Huron to Earth Power. So that will be happening again. The BIA originally did the window unveiling for years downtown in Meaford. So we're reviving that. The theme is One Magic Christmas. And then we're doing a shop local giveaway as well with participating businesses. So when you purchase things at the businesses, you'll get a ballot, and then you can enter to win this. We're calling it Giving the Gift of Meaford. So the businesses are contributing to this giveaway, and there's some amazing prizes. So we're hoping that it will increase foot traffic downtown. And alongside that, it'll be happening with the tree lighting and overlapping with Christmas on the Bay as well. So we're hoping it will encourage people to shop and explore and spend time downtown. And also including the storytelling of our amazing film that was happening in Meaford. So that's our holiday plan downtown. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions for Jessica? Okay, seeing nothing. I'm going to move on to point 8, agenda communications. The committee will consider correspondence received by members of the public during each meeting. To share your comments, thoughts, or concerns with members of the committee, the public can send an email to deputyclerk@meaford.ca. When emails are received to this email address, they will be compiled into a correspondence list, which is then distributed to committee members prior to the meeting. The cover sheet of this list will be included on each meeting agenda. The contents of the correspondence list are not included on the public agenda to protect the privacy and personal information of those residents who choose to send in their thoughts and comments. And at this point, we don't have any correspondence. Thank you, Allison. So we'll move into committee inquiries. So I will throw it open to committee members to any questions they wish to ask. Okay. See nothing? Okay, then I'll throw something in here that I think is going to be of interest, and it's kind of direct correlation to a lot of the things we've just been talking about. I don't know how many, I'm sure many people know who Robert Bircher is. Robert Bircher is a local historian, written a number of books on the area, particularly well versed in the Trout Hollow Trail and John Muir's history in this area. So that's all very exciting. Well, he contacted me because he wanted to talk about, he was contacted by a film company, a public broadcaster in Paris, France, ARTE TV. They contacted him because they wanted to interview someone. They actually contacted the museum first. They got Robert Bircher involved. So they actually came to Canada and they filmed an interview with him, talking about John Muir's history in our area. And that is going to be shown on their network, which reaches about 5 million people in Europe. So that is all going to be focused on Trout Hollow in Meaford and our connection to John Muir. He went on to say that not only is it Europe, but when we kind of get this all kind of done and correlated, we want to also then go to the Park Service in the States, which is another 4 million. So when you talk about that organic natural growth, and I've often wondered why we haven't been able to take more advantage of Beautiful Joe, Andrew Gawley, and John Muir, who have a direct connection to our community. Historically, they're literally globally known, and yet our community has not made Beautiful Joe a little bit more of an effort than the other two. But we have not taken advantage of that particular avenue in terms of telling our story to the world. So and I'm doing this again, so under the ECDOV umbrella of talking not just about the planning aspect, but talking about our culture. Those are our historical cultural touchstones. Kelly, tell us a little bit about what's going on with what's happening next year with another direct correlation to our history, our agricultural history.
Sure.
Thank you. So through you, Mr. Chair, I had the opportunity to give a deputation to council earlier this week to talk about Meaford Theatre Company. I do volunteer with that organization as well, and we are excited to be bringing the story of Onion Skins and Peach Fuzz, the Farmerettes, to Woodford Hall. And for those of you who aren't familiar, during World War II, when farmers and farm laborers went off to fight in the war, it left a gap for farm labor. And there was a program, it was of the government, where they encouraged young women who were 16 to 18 to sign up and do the farm work. So keeping food on shelves and keeping people fed during a time of rationing. And it was actually, for your interest, the YMCA was also very involved in that. So this story has come to light in the past few years. There's a documentary about it. There is a book that has assembled all the stories of the people who served as farmerettes. And then from that, there's been a play adapted from those stories, and it's been workshopped a couple of times, and it's been rewritten, and we're going to have the premiere coming to Meaford in April, which we're really excited about.
Yeah, that is such an amazing, good news story, because to get literally a world premiere of a show of that kind of magnitude is huge. So kudos to the Meaford Theatre Company for pursuing that and being able to secure it. That is really, really great news. So those are just some, again, some of the overriding kind of more tourism aspect of kind of the ECDEV portions that I really thought that might be important to bring forth to people to know and spread the word. So you didn't even say where you can get tickets and when, because you should be doing that.
Yes, I agree. And through you, Mr. Chair, I would encourage people to get their tickets early, because we are expecting the shows to sell out. There's been strong interest. We've had people contacting us from other areas where they'd shown the documentary, they saw it, and then they said, I want tickets. So it's through the URL 3common.com/Meaford Theatre Company is where the tickets are on sale.
Excellent, thank you. So I'll give you, everybody, one last chance, kick at the can for any committee inquiries, otherwise we'll move on. And seeing nothing, then as was alluded to, the date of the next meeting isn't confirmed yet. We know we have 2 more meetings, January and March. January, as was discussed, will be more of a wrap-up scenario and a summary scenario, so that we can think about what we can present to council. So please put that in your mindsets. And if there's nothing else, then I will call the meeting adjourned. Oh, okay, you were that close, Evelyn.
To have a sense on when in January.
I'm not sure we have that yet, but I'll throw it to Allison.
So it will follow the same pattern as 2025. So are we the third? The third Wednesday is likely to be in there, but I can confirm that with you. Now that we have the direction from council, we'll be working on this.
You may
this week.
want to check people's availability. That would be recommended.
Thank you.
Okay. And with that, I will call the meeting adjourned. Thank you all.